time, our customers will come to us with very concrete problems they want to solve. They're working in spreadsheets and they want to get out of the spreadsheets, or they want to be able to measure the engagement of clients with like marketing materials, things like that. Very concrete, very specific. But sometimes clients they see more of just signals, like negative signals with their instance. Things like it's very difficult for them to make changes, or maybe users aren't adopting Salesforce, or they find that they don't trust their data. Things like that. That it's not necessarily one specific problem to go solve. It's more. It's a little bit more nebulous, more generalized, and so that's where something like a health check comes in, where we of course want to evaluate the technology and see which pieces of the technology ecosystem you've implemented. But there's more to it. There's also a process and governance aspect. How are you managing the way your system changes and grows over time? And as well as the user experience aspect, where we kind of want to understand, are your users happy? Have you made it a smooth, frictionless experience through the tool? So when we talk about doing a health check, we come in with kind of, we want to first orient ourselves. We want to understand, what are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? Why did you choose Salesforce? What piece of your business puzzle are you trying to solve with Salesforce? Because it's different every customer. And then once we've kind of oriented ourselves, we first observe. We want to see how you use it. You mentioned current state. I think that's a really good point, that you want to know before you start making recommendations. You want to understand why what was done, when it was done, who did it, and so we observe. Right. We want to make sure we understand how you're using the system, how people currently feel about the system, and start to identify some of those pain points. Things like surveys. Of course, we go in, through the administrative console and make sure we understand how you've implemented things, how much customization versus configuration you've done. And then once we've made our observations, we go back and we analyze that. Right, we start to look for. Compare it to best practices, right? Have you maybe built things yourself when you could have used out-of-the-box pieces? And maybe that's one of the things that makes your system more fragile. So we start to compare it to best practices, and with the ultimate goal that we arrive at some recommendations. Given what we've seen, given what we know are kind of the best practices, we kind of compare the two and do a gap analysis. Where have we maybe strayed from what would be, typically best practice? Was there a good reason that we strayed? And if not, we kind of weave that into a roadmap where we try to paint a picture of our recommendation of what we think should be kind of an incremental approach to moving back on track towards those best practices.